Hiding in a garage. And what's that he's got? Old photograph album. Holding on to it like nobody's business, too. The officer eyed Herbert with cold suspicion. He's crazy as a loon, he said. Last time I saw him he was after an empty bird cage. Told somebody after he was grabbed that he was a dicky bird of some sort, and that he wanted the cage so he'd have a place to sit down in. We knew nothing of all this that night, and I did not see Herbert again until later that day. Mother was too disturbed to sleep again, however. The officers had discovered the open window in the basement and the chair we had left by the dumbwaiter shaft. One of them had even taken the trip to the schoolroom on it and had been stuck between two floors and only rescued by Herculean efforts. But the whole result was that Mother's carefully built case against Holmes seemed to have collapsed, and that when I finally went to sleep at dawn she was still up and gazing thoughtfully out of her window. That day the intensive search for the missing truck went on. The store where it had been bought was located and a careful description and photographs obtained. Both were sent out to all precincts and detective squads, and to all state troopers, as well as to railways, hotels and even storage warehouses, with an enlargement of the special lock Emily Lancaster had ordered to supplement the regular one. By telephone, shortwave radio and teletype the search was taken up, and by afternoon the press had the photographs and ran them that night as mysterious trunk wanted by police in Crescent Place murders. One paper offered a reward for its discovery, and within a day or two the others followed suit. But nothing happened, and when in the course of time it was discovered, as everyone knows who reads the papers, it was too late. As the inspector says, what threw everybody off was those foreign labels. It was a smart trick, that. Pretty well plastered with them, it was, everything from steamer tags to hotels in Europe. It made the same difference that a beard and a pair of false eyebrows would make on you, Miss Hall. But all they learned that first day of the search, Friday, August the 26th, was the identity of the colored man who had helped to carry the trunk down to the waiting truck. He had not noticed the white helper, save that he had a short beard and was not young, and he had an alibi to bear out his statement that he had remained behind when the truck drove off. He added something to that, however. The white helper had gone along. He had waited until Holmes was in the driving seat, and had then got onto the truck and curled up in the rear. He had supposed it was by prearrangement, but Holmes might not have realized that he was there. "I dunno, boss," he said. "That he a white man, he jest got in over the tail. Engine makin' a mighty lot o' noise jest then, so mebbe the other fella didn't know. This white man, loss I saw of him, he was sittin' flat behing the trunk. But that Friday, beginning with 2 o'clock in the afternoon, stands out in all the history of the case as its one most significant day. Not only because it was that night that Lydia Talbot disappeared, but because at 2 o'clock that afternoon Margaret Lancaster got into a taxicab and, driving to the district attorney's office, proceeded of her own free will to make a statement so surprising that even the stenographic notes were in places almost unintelligible. No one of us saw her go, or had any idea of her intention. She left Miss Lydia in the house, got into the taxicab and was driven downtown alone, and I have often wondered since what must have been her thoughts as, bolt upright in that cab and as carefully dressed as usual, she went determinedly to expose at last what she had fought so hard to conceal. She looked exhausted and old, Herbert Dean says, as she went in. She threw back her heavy black veil, took a seat across the wide desk from the district attorney, and simply said, "I have come to tell the real story of my mother's murder, and of my sister's death following it. I suppose you will want a stenographer." The district attorney could hardly believe what he heard. He stared at her. You want to make a signed statement?" "I do. It cannot hurt anybody now." They kept her waiting for a time. It was dangerous, for they knew she might weaken at any moment, and for all her quiet manner it was dear to everybody that she was close to actual physical collapse. But there would be points to check and questions to ask, and for this they needed the inspector and Mr. Sullivan. The commissioner had taken his ivy poisoning home to bed, but Herbert was already there. Someone in that 15-minute interval asked her if she needed some spirits of ammonia, but she shook her head. "I am quite all right," she said. That was the only time she spoke until, with everything ready, she asked if she should start. The district attorney said please, and she drew a long breath. "As you all know," she said, "I am Margaret Lancaster. And I am here to say that to the best of my knowledge and belief, My sister, while mentally deranged, killed my mother, and that last Sunday night, out of fear that she would do further harm, my stepfather shot and killed my sister. Chapter 39. I shall try to be as brief as possible, and I am telling what I know because you already suspect my stepfather. I have learned from the nurse that you have his pistol, that she gave it to you. But what you cannot know is the reason he had for killing my sister.